Good morning, quilt people. It is a very, 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 very exciting day. So 12 days till I go to Houston to launch my fabric line, right? Yay! Exciting news. So, lots going on in the studio. Woohoo! Oh my goodness, I'm getting too old for this. Anyhow, just wanted to kind of show you kind of where I'm headed with the fabric line. This is it here behind me. I wanted to do one quilt where I could kind of essentially incorporate, hold on, this is in the way. Essentially incorporate the entire line into one quilt, and also do it in such a manner where all the quilts, all the fabrics individually have enough room to breathe, so you can really see them rather than being, cut up into tiny 2-inch squares. So that was my approach for this. This pattern is called Rolling Romance. It will be posted to my website for sale probably this weekend sometime, hopefully. We'll see, but I really love it. It echoes a lot of the designs in the actual, here, let me get this one. Let's see this one. All right, so you can see how it has the disappearing circles essentially, and you just have the in-between part, right? The negative space being shown as opposed to the actual image itself. So that's where I came up with these kind of circles, and I really love the way that it just really allows each fabric individually to be seen, as well as I wanted the opportunity to pair them together, because how the fabrics actually go together and are used was fairly important to me, so that it made more sense to people. Anyhow, so that's Rolling Romance. It'll be posted for sale, like I said, probably this weekend. And then I wanted to show you one other thing, kind of a fun thing, just kind of a little craft project. So I bought these letters. Let me show you over here. Hold on. All right, so this is one of my fabrics. I love, 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 love this green with the little brown accents. I think is very, very masculine and handsome. I think it's, anyways, I love it. Hope you do too. But I'm gonna wrap these letters in each letter in an individual fabric. And it's kind of the same approach as my turned applique. So I'm just gonna show you really quick how to do that. First of all, just take, and I'm gonna do each letter in a different fabric. So I'm gonna just cut this section out here for this, and then I'm gonna go iron it before I start to wrap it. All right, so how awesome is this? First thing you're gonna do is just like lay out the fabrics so that you are happy with what you're choosing, right? Oh my gosh, this is gonna look so good. I'm super excited about this. So then, yeah, gotta iron these. And once you've ironed them, essentially we're going to, now this is the part you can't get wrong, because otherwise, because some letters will make a big difference whether they're flipped one way or the other, right? Don't wanna get that wrong. So, what we gotta be aware of is that you put the letter down, put the glue on it, and then the fabric on top. Don't try and do it backwards somehow. It's way more confusing. So what I'm gonna do is just take some permanent glue and, come on. Oh great, I just broke it. Please hold. All right, so I got this, and I just use a Q-tip, and Ava is here. See her, she's helping me out in the studio today. Good girl. All right, so this is permanent fabric glue. Most often we use temporary. This is actually permanent. So I'm gonna put this on here, and I just got these letters at Michael's, right? So any craft store has them, and they had them in a bunch of different fonts, but I just like this kind of plain one. And after I put the fabric on them, I'm going to then put them in a shadow box with a different fabric on the background, one of my one of my whites, and then these will be a more darker color, so hopefully they'll pop off the lighter colored background. All right, so the glue is on, and then just a little bit on the inside. Just be careful not to get it on the back side. All right, and look at what an amazing job I'm doing. Meh. All right, so that's pretty much it. Get a little bit more here, and then, easy enough, just put the fabric, okay, so put the letter up, like how you're gonna look at it, and then put the fabric on top of it like this, okay? Now, we're just gonna want to let that dry for a second, just so that it's really pretty tacky. All right. And then we're going to cut into it. And the way that you cut into it is important so that it folds, right? It's like a turned apple. You okay there, girl? Our little one she's over here throwing up. But the way that you cut it is important so that you get a nice corner, and it's the same kind of basic principle as a lot of the turned applique work that I do. All right, this is pretty much ready to go. So it's dried just the briefest second here. Just the heat from your hand actually really works pretty good. And so now I'm going to cut down into the opening of this. And how you cut this is really super important. So like where there's a 90-degree angle here, right? That needs to be cut right into exactly at the 45. Okay, so identify where that is and see how I'm coming at it this way, right? Right down into it at the 45 so that when it folds down into that corner. Okay, and right to the corner. And then I'm just going to come along here and cut some of this out because it's going to be a little bit extra. But then again, where it turns here, right, where it turns here, you can see on this side. So this type of thing needs to be cut right up in there. And then you do little cuts around a curve, right? Little cuts around the curve. And then again, where there's a 90-degree angle here, I'm going to want to cut it straight at the 45 into that corner, right? So now that folds down nicely. Now I'm just going to test for any other extra tension that needs to be dealt with. The fabric is actually pretty stretchy here. I'm getting a little bit of extra tension here that I don't want, so I'm going to do a little extra cut there, just to ease that up. Yep. Okay. It's very much like what they do with tailoring, right? Just kind of releasing that pressure, seeing where it is. So now this can all be wrapped down and around. So I'm going to go back with some more glue and just swab that with some glue on a Q-tip. Okay, boop, there we go. That was kind of gross. And then just pull this and wrap it around, okay? And then just let this dry for a second. But it's already starting to take shape. Yay, that's gonna be cool. All right. Just let that dry. All right, that's drying nicely. And, oh, and how cool is this? Look, it's my name on the selvage of fabric. That's amazing. All right, let's, the next thing we wanna look at for this P is this right here, okay? So same situation where we're gonna come at it at the 45-degree angle, right, to there, so that I can essentially wrap this piece down and then I can start working around the curve, which is slightly more challenging on this part here, right? But that's the first thing that we do in order to take care of that and get a nice 45-degree cut right there at the 90-degree. And then we're just gonna wrap this, right? This part is easy, right? Because it's all just square. And then when you come up here, you know, just take this around the corner. Now, I would probably start this side here first, right? To like that, and then wrap it that way for the cleanest finish, okay? Just like that. And this needs some more glue. It's not quite sticking just yet. But then we'll deal with this part here, and you know, a curve like that is slightly more challenging. All right, so I'm coming up the back side of this. I've kind of turned this part already, but I want to cut this up because there's just way too much fabric, right? So I want to cut this more like at a ½ an inch beyond that. Otherwise, it's just unruly. It's too much to try and deal with. Ah, gimme. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's that, and then I'm just going to do a bit more glue up the side here and just slightly onto the flat portion, so along here and then slightly onto this new flat surface so that I can not only wrap it but then also get it to a fix right on this side right there. There we go. Now these 90 degrees, if you get it wrapped properly, you should have a nice perfect edge like that. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Just get the excess glue off and take it all the way up to there. All right, cool. I'm just gonna let this dry for a second before I go on. I'm ready to tackle this part, which is actually the hardest part, right? So I'm going to, again, trim the excess at about just a really either a fat 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch, somewhere right in there, and get that out of the way. Okay. So that is done. And then what I'm gonna do is, as I'm wrapping this, I'm gonna just take little trim marks like this so that it'll kind of fold over on itself, right, as I'm going along. Okay, so that as I'm doing this, right, you can see how it can start to overlap in those places rather than putting continued pressure around the bend. So same thing, let me actually get rid of this is getting pretty gross. So that is done. I'm gonna just fold this, and you gotta go slow here, right, and kind of do one part up to the next clip where you clipped it, right, at a time. So my first cut is right here, and so I'm just gonna keep doing this, making sure that, see, there was a little bubble there. All right, and then using those little cuts to fold that over, and again, just going one at a time. This has to dry just a little bit more. I could use a little more glue on this surface as well. Okay, so easy enough. This is gonna look very cool. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to display this in my booth in Houston. I think it's gonna look great. It's a great way to, it's a fun way to display fabric, right? In a way that's maybe a slightly unconventional. All right, I need some more cuts in here. Okay. All right. And there we go. Just keep wrapping that around, coming home on the home stretch. And then this last 90-degree angle, right? I'm gonna cut, I'm not gonna cut, I'm gonna fold right over here, like that. Give it a little pinch, and then just make sure that that gets tacked down, like so. All right, I'm not loving this part right here. It'll look better once it's dried, so long as it dries flat. Okay, but that's it. That's the P. But you see some of the techniques that I'm using, right? The O is going to be even more difficult with the snipping, right? And to alleviate that pressure. And then, I mean, really that's all you need to know is how to deal with the curves, and then how to deal with a 90-degree angle where you take your scissors and you cut on a 45 right up into there, all right? So that it's flush, and that this one's cut, that end folds down, and then that end folds that way, right? So that's the easiest thing to remember about that. And then, you know, the other letters, like this might be a little challenging, right? Because again, you have to get right into the cleavage of the V, right? You have to cut all the way to this point. So I'm gonna come down straight in. This one won't be at a 45, this will be at a straight in, and then you can fold that one under that way, and then that one under that way, so long as you cut it all the way to the wood, right? To that part of the cleavage. Okay, so let me wrap the other letters. It's gonna be so fun, it's gonna look so cool. And then I'm gonna put it on the background of one of my other fabrics. Ooh, the one in here, actually. Look, of this kind of plaid almost. Oh, I love it so much, it's so cool. I worked really hard on getting that white right. White right, yep. All right, I've moved on to the O, and I just wanted to show you how to test for tension, right? When you are doing those little, you know, relieving snips, right, all the way around the circle on the inside, you can test with your fingers to see how much tension you have on the fabric. Now you can see down here I haven't cut enough, and so it feels really tight, right? Like it's not gonna fold easily. And so I'm gonna want to make more cuts there. And so just do that little practice run with your finger until that tension is relieved. Oh, yeah, that feels a lot better. Okay, now that's gonna glue nicely. Okay, last one, quick review. Glue on the top surface with the letter facing up, fabric placed down. Wait for it to dry, or just hit it with the iron really quick, no steam. Oh, of course it decides to give me steam now. You bastard! All right. Now that that's dry, I mean, when I'm doing the applique process, I normally do it with this, but it's a little hard to get all the way in there. Okay, so that should be good. We're just about there, and then I can just glue the sides and turn it. Okay. Right? That out of there. Okay. Come up here. Cut, snip, 45. Cut, snip, 45. The rest should be good. This is a little long. Okay. All right. Easy enough. Then we'll address the sides. The T is easy because it's nice and square. And that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna turn it and it'll be done. Easy, 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 right? Oh my gosh, look how good this looks. I love it, love it, love it. This is the fabric that I'm gonna be using on the background, one of my favorites from my line. It's a plaid. And then these are other fabrics that I'm gonna be using, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna put it into a shadow box. Oh, hey Ava, what's up? You here to help? That's our 9-month-old Great Dane puppy. Whoo. Yeah, it's a lot. Anyhow, so like I said, super excited. This will be launched later this month, and this is a super fun project. You can do it with kids. It's totally easy, and it turns my turned applique technique into something slightly different that you can do just as a regular craft project. Think about doing it for your kids or somebody's name in a shadow box in fabric, in their favorite fabric. Could be so fun. So think about that. And as always, I so appreciate your support. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you love my fabric line. I sure do. I love it so much. I'm so excited that it's about to be launched. So as always, you could always reach me at quiltingcowboy@gmail.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much.